Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Loki Episode 2, which does not bode well for our future, well, that of the sacred timeline, or our own coming environmental doom. The extinction of swallows? Are you kidding me? We couldn't save the birds. As always, there were so many hard-to-spot details hidden throughout this episode, so I'm gonna break it down shot by shot for everything you might have missed. Support this channel by checking out our new Loki-inspired merch options like the awesome shirt Loki Out of Time. You can get this at newrockstarsmerch.com. We opened on a Renaissance fair in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, 1985, the year time travel fiction really climbed to new popularity with the release of Back to the Future. Notice how as the dates swipe back to that, it looks like the first to swipe past is 2023, telling us that the TVA frame of reference for us is the current MCU present year of 2024. Hunter C20 tracks the Loki variant to this green tent with a golden sign out front for a miniature pony, green and gold of course being Loki's colors, but also coincidentally crossing in front of the tent pad is this blonde woman. Doesn't look like Sophia DiMartino, but they are looking for someone who looks like Loki when they really should be looking for someone who looks like that. So this episode ultimately reveals the variant to be a female, played by Sophia DiMartino, perhaps Lady Loki from the comics, which is a reincarnation of Loki's soul in a new female body. Though, if you look closely to alternate language dubs in the credits, she is credited as Sylvie, which could be for Sylvie Lushton, aka Enchantress. Sylvie is a girl in Broxton, Oklahoma when the Asgardians relocate there, and that same run in the comics. She wakes up with powers, and it's later suggested she might have been wholly created by Loki as a kind of joke. I suspect this show might be combining elements of Sylvie with Lady Loki, but since this show for now considers her to be a Loki variant, I'm just gonna call her Lady Loki here. Bonnie Tyler's 1984 song Holding Out for a Hero is queued up with the recording.
Where'd you get these? Can I have them? No.
When all you can fries is think about Postmates.
Hold on, did Lady Loki take the time to audio edit a recording so that it transitioned on Holding Out for a Hero? Or was Holding Out for a Hero already the music this 1985 Ren Fair had queued up? Either way, this is some real Joker shit that tells us this Lady Loki has a flair for the dramatic and is willing to take her time tinkering with electronics. And the prize being the princess sets up our Loki as the hero we're holding out for, chasing his princess, all while I think the evil is actually something else that could prevail. Lady Loki pairs her consciousness with C20. Wanda Maximoff's illusion curse is a similar look to this with the eyes lighting up, but here the spell is mind control, something Loki previously could only do with the Mind Stone and the Scepter, but we will soon learn from Mobius that variant Lokis have different powers. The close-up of the temp pad shows icons for Time Door and Miss Minutes. Again, Miss Minutes is a selectable function as she is on the elevator. Maybe at any given moment they can unleash her as a weapon or kind of sound an alarm. Speaking of whom, Loki asks if Miss Minutes is a recording or if she's alive.
Are you recording or are you alive?
Sort of both.
Yeah, he tries to swat her, and the fact that Miss Minutes goes to the effort of dodging these confirms she exists in the real world, reacting moment to moment, and you can hear her shoes making noises.
Watch it. Where's your manners? Oh, hey, quit it. That is not nice.
And at one point she stands on the hourglass, which remember is the symbol at the heart of the TVA logo, maybe showing that she could have some authority over the TVA. Like I theorized, she might be linked with the Timekeepers, kind of the way the Kree Supreme Intelligence is a reactive AI that controls that society. Now on the screen is a multiple choice question. Thanos has 2 apples. He eats both, but realizes he wants more. He goes back in time 20 minutes and eats the apples again. Does this mean the apples will not have existed in the timeline he left? A, no, because time is constantly happening. B, the question doesn't matter because a branch cannot change another time branch. Or C, Thanos would have been hungry prior because the grandfather paradox already accounted for the change in matter before its move. Love it. All 3 options are explanations we have heard in time travel fiction before, like A being our approach, time is just always happening, C being our this always happened approach in which things are what they are meant to be in the future, and B being the correct answer within Loki's logical framework, in which branch timelines cannot affect other branch timelines, they each play out in real time independently. This is actually the point Mobius later corrects Loki on at the fair, and Loki didn't know because he's slacking off here. And I love how it uses rewinding apples, the example Doctor Strange used to display time travel, and reminds us that Thanos died hungry. Also shows that the TVA knows who Thanos is and apparently considered his genocide just part of the sacred timeline. Mobius shows some other Loki variants, including a blue one. Remember, Loki's natural frost giant form is blue skin. He's variant L1247, but when you punch up to close-up, it changes to 6792. And variant L1247 shows Loki as a cyclist having won the Tour de France. Then a beastly Loki who appears to be L6792. A bearded Loki, L8914 with natural black horns. And then a Loki with a more traditional Viking armor, L7803. Mobius says each Loki has a different power set, but all of them seem to have the power of illusion projection. Though Loki corrects him, saying that there's a distinction between illusion projection and duplication casting. Illusion projection being like when Loki projected shape-shifted forms of Cap and Odin over himself, or when he projected Thor's severed arm in the Dark World. Meanwhile, duplication casting being anytime Loki tricked other people with alternate doubles of himself. But this clarification of Loki's power set helps set up Loki's sorcery as far more diverse than we realized. For example, him using telekinesis to summon a Roomba in that Rockstars fight, something I don't think we'd ever previously seen him do. In the Ren Fair, Loki's talking doesn't work on Mobius and the others. They end up using a reset charge on the tent, this time giving us a close-up of it. It looks like the main chamber containing this orange fluid, but then the charge releases an upper chamber of purple fluid that mixes until it reaches a saturation point that releases this rainbowy puddle that resets everything within the radius. It's almost like these are made of specific amounts of matter and antimatter that mix together, and that collision undoes the fabric of the nearby reality. And as we see this branch pruned on the chronomonitor screen, other past branch locations tick past, including Nidavellir, that's the armory realm where Thor met Eitri and acquired Stormbreaker in Infinity War, and Sakaar, that's the trash planet of Thor Ragnarok where Loki, Thor, Banner, and Valkyrie escaped. So even though it seemed like the TVA was Earth-specific from the animation last episode, they actually oversee all the planets in the known MCU universe. Renslayer's office has a statue of Timekeeper Ast centered right behind her seat, just like in the courtroom, and just like in the final shot of the end credits, we now begin in close-up on this one. Also notice that Zorth and Vanth are holding hourglasses, but Ast's arms are outstretched in kind of a saintly pose. Mobius even begins to say something about the odd one out, but Renslayer cuts him off.
Although I shouldn't say that. That one looks like he's got
The timekeepers are monitoring every aspect of this case.
Yeah, I think these are more clues that this timekeeper in particular might have a special relationship with Renslayer. Mobius points out other mission trophy artifacts like a snow globe, and you can later see it reads San Diego. Renslayer says,
You're not the only analyst working for me.
yeah, Mobius brings up this other analyst a few times, including this pen from Franklin D. Roosevelt High School.
I don't remember this. This must be from that analyst you keep on the side.
Yeah, Mobius seems a bit jealous of this mystery analyst, so let's all keep an eye out for some other analysts that might be in the shadows. Notice how Mobius does not use a coaster, leaving more ring stains on that table. The end credits actually show a ring stain on his chronomonitor handbook, so here's another possible clue. Like maybe the reason Mobius doesn't remember leaving these ring stains is because this other analyst is a variant of him. And just like Loki is one of many Lokis in a box, so is Mobius. He could be arriving at his own future existential crisis. Notice how Renslayer signs a report R. Slayer, a little tease showing us she's not afraid to get her hands dirty, and Mobius signs MMM since his full name is Mobius M. Mobius. And I love the hallway's labyrinthian design. Like notice the third corridor is the same set as the first one that they walked down. Like the set designers just doubled it up, maybe as a way to make Loki seem lost and helpless in the TVA. Now the elevator's descent was shot in the real life Atlanta Marriott Marquis, but as the camera tilts down, you can see how they actually recomposited the lower levels with those big timekeeper statues and the bookshelves of the TVA archives. Loki reads a report talking about the variant's destruction of Central California oil fields. If you look closely, this would be another oil field that she destroyed after that one in Oklahoma last episode. Maybe she genuinely is trying to reverse the impact of climate change. In the background of this library setting, you can actually see the floors behind Loki reading SYF, LK3, 2W1. All of these correspond to floors in the elevator, but one of them is 372, which could be a nod to Thor 372, which is the first comic appearance of the Timekeepers. The librarian shuts Loki down, saying the creation of the TVA, the beginning of time, the end of time, these are all classified. Just another sign that TVA Narrative Commission's video about the history of the Timekeepers may or may not be the full story. So Loki reads the report on the destruction of Asgard, as we saw in Thor Ragnarok. Listed here as a Class 7 apocalypse, total planetary destruction, 9,719 deaths, which would be the entire civilization minus the refugees who escaped on the Statesman. And you can can also see codename Revengers, which is the team name that Thor improvised to Valkyrie in Ragnarok.
Has it got a name?
Yeah, it's called the Revenges.
The Revenges?
Because I'm getting revenge. You're getting revenge, and what do you want revenge?